Hi, this is Max Gocher, and I'm here today with Mike Abernathy, and we wanted to take a few minutes and talk to you about how we look at demographics. We often ask doctors about the demographics of their practice, and they generally don't know too much about the demographics of where their practice is located. Probably more common is somebody's thinking about starting a practice in a certain location, or somebody's thinking about relocating their practice to a new location. And so demographics is a very important aspect of that process. So again, we just want to take a few minutes and share that with you. We use a site, I'm going to share my screen here. We use a site called zipwho.com. And if you put in a zip code, this is what you'll find. And, you know, it's pretty basic information, but at the same time, still very important information. So
Right.
Mike, would you go ahead and...
Yeah, if you're looking for some real detailed stuff, UnitedStatesZipCodes.org will go a lot deeper. Even on this site, this is the basic search. You'll notice on the left-hand side, it allows you to define your search with more clarity and more depth to it. But again, if you were, let's say you wanted us to look at your practice and kind of look at any challenges that we saw. We're probably going to want to see a profit and loss statement. We're probably going to want to see a growth analysis spreadsheet, which kind of looks at numbers in your practice. We're going to look at a profit and loss statement too, and combine all of these. But one of the things that I do is I'll go and look at your practice online, look at your reviews. I'd look at, I go to Google Earth. I see what the signage looks like outside of your practice. I look at the logo, I look at the name, look at the domain name that you use. But demographics is one of those things, as you're self-diagnosing yourself, that plays a tremendous part in changing an existing practice, maybe analyzing a potential purchase, or maybe even analyzing a potential location for another practice, looking at the value of your practice if the location doesn't look good. And when I say location, I'm thinking demographics, but truly location could be, on the 6th floor of a high-rise business building, just that's a horrible location for a dental practice because you have no exposure. But today we're talking about basically the people that live outside of your practice. So in some of your cases, you'll be using like Dentrix or EagleSoft or SoftDent or some software. A lot of those have a landing, a report page. For example, EagleSoft has a patient analysis report. Dentrix has a practice statistics report that'll have the information, kind of what we're looking at here in your practice. And so when we're looking at the value of practice, we're looking at the potential for growth, we're looking at, what could be holding you back, we're going to look at this. So this is a zip code 30 miles from where I practice, Sherman, Texas. Small town, not real large, not a lot of growth, basically kind of average. But in this particular zip code, there are 3 there. This is below average. And I kind of wanted to help you understand what these numbers mean. Not so much we're just looking at these numbers, but really when you're looking at your own demographic, you go to zipwho.com, you plug in your zip code, you hit basic search, this is going to pop up or something similar to it. So medium income, national average is probably 41 to 45,000. So this particular location is far below that. And just so you understand, when we say medium income, we're talking about the medium income, not of an adult, but of a family. Okay, so this could be a family of 4. Okay, big difference than thinking it's just, one person. Now, if I ask doctors, I said, what's good about this, or what's bad about it, or what's bad about it? And they go, oh, well, they're not going to be able to spend much money on dentistry. You're right. But in this location, I happen to know that 74% of all the population has some form of dental insurance. So in a low income area like this, you would have to be a network for them to have anything done in your practice. They literally could not afford to pay fee-for-service fees to do that. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with fee-for-service. I'm just saying the average person will not be able to afford to do that. Your schedule, your hours. People that make this work hard 5 days a week, 8 to 5. They can't come in the middle of the day, 8 to 5 on Monday through Thursday. So you might have to change your schedule. So each one of these numbers means something. Now, cost of living index. This is the cost of goods and services in this particular zip code. Now, if we were to look at Greenwich, Connecticut, we might see an income level of 100,000 a year, but the cost of living might be 450% higher than any other place in the United States. So in this case, because it's only 56%, things there cost less. And so it mitigates that 31 and might make it closer to 40,000, if we're looking at average. But that helps a little bit. It doesn't fix everything, but it also works the other way around. Okay. Medium mortgage to income ratio. Average in the United States is 22%. So houses don't cost much there. So again, it's 19% instead of 22. That helps that income live there. Owner-occupied homes. Generally, I find it around 63 to 65%. But keep in mind, if it were 90% and you were opening a new practice, the weird thing about people that have money and they, have a higher mortgage to income ratio and they own homes is they probably already have a dentist. 90% of the people outside of your practice are not looking for another dentist. So again, it's hard to get new patients unless you're including everything we're talking about here. Medium rooms in a home, again, kind of average. College degree and professional, very low here. Now, we're going to look at another zip code in just a few minutes to kind of give you both sides of this, and odds are you'll be in the middle somewhere. But there's good and bad about every one of these numbers, okay? Now, up to this point, just above the population here, the one good thing is a lot of these people are going to have dental needs. They can't afford to get everything fixed. They generally can afford to stop being in pain. You might find that removable appliances, dentures, partials might play well in this demographic. Probably not a boutique fee-for-service practice. It's not going to do well there. Income levels won't support that. But the fact that they didn't all go to college and they're not professionals mean that they don't always floss and brush, and they didn't grow up going to the dentist every 6 months. So there's going to be a lot of dental need there. So a practice could go in there and do well. I've seen practices do well in this zip code, but it's different in every zip code. So it will define your potential and kind of how you're going to have to practice when we look at this. Let's say, for example, we've got 63% owner occupied. That means that 37 or 36% are in apartments, right? If they're living there, they're renting. Okay. So the lower the owner occupied home number is, the higher the apartments and rental spaces will be. In a practice that's in a practice demographic like this, it would mean they'd have to spend consistently more money every month to market these people, because they're not going to stay in an apartment forever. Normal stay is less than 2 years. Normal stay in a home is 9 years. And so it's going to change the way you practice. Population is a tiny bit low. Average population is 25,000. So let's say you're in a town, in a zip code that only has 7,000. Then you're going to have to market out further and further from your practice. And again, there is one demographic this won't show, and that's the penetration of number of dentists per population. And we feel like if it's not around 2,000 potential clients per dentist, okay, if it drops below that, it's going to be much more challenging to make a living there. Are there going to be dentists in that area that make a great living? Absolutely. But to start a practice there, or to buy a practice, or think that you're going to be the one that does that is so minute. I would avoid moving to areas where the ratio of dentists to population is less than 1 to 2,000. I wish it was higher. Okay. Average household size, 2.7. So average people living here are going to have children. Okay. So if you don't see children, that's going to change your ability to make a living here. Median age is 32. Okay. So what do 32-year-olds need in a dental practice? Well, probably not full mouth rehab. But again, these are rather young people that are probably not going to have a whole lot of perio, maybe decay. But again, if you go back to 1975, the average adult, 16.7% of their teeth were decayed, missing, or filled. Decayed, missing, or filled. Now we fast forward to 2019, it's 3.1. So as we speak, the average adult has fewer and fewer needs to go to the dentist. I mean, in other words, they don't have a lot of problems, yet we're continually increasing the number of dentists we've got. Okay, male to female ratio, married, all this looks fairly average. Then we get down to the race demographics. and again, I want to say this as politely as I can, but the higher the white population, the more utilization of dentistry you're going to find. In Texas, which this is Texas, it's not unusual to see a 12 to 16, 17% Hispanic population. Now, in this case, it's 68% white, 13% black, 14% Hispanic, hardly any Asians there. Okay, now, again, if I were hiring staff, if I was putting photographs on my website, if I were doing print marketing or billboards, I want to make sure that I was race sensitive, ethnicity sensitive to the types of people I put on there. You wouldn't want to have just white people if it was a majority blacks in the population, or high Hispanic. We'd want that to reflect in our hiring policies, in the marketing we do, reflect the race demographics. Now let's look at something 30 miles away, but a higher income. Now, this particular town, Sherman, is exactly 60 miles from Dallas, north of Dallas. We're going to look at McKinney, Texas, where my main practice was, and it's about 32 miles from Dallas. So on the same highway from Dallas to Sherman, okay? So, but 30 miles apart. McKinney is a bedroom community for Dallas. Sherman is not. There are people that drive from there, but again, there are other places they could work. There's nearer. But in this particular case, income's $84,000. But you remember, in the cost of living in Sherman was 56%. This is 85% higher than any other place in the United States. And so you see on the right-hand side, the top 10%, McKinney for medium income is in the top 3%. Okay, very high income ratio. Now, again, what's good about that? And everybody's going to say, okay, well, they have more discretionary income to spend on teeth. What's bad about that? They don't need to spend money on their teeth because they always brush and floss and go to the dentist. Now, you're going to see that when we look down here and see that colleges, a college degree, and professionals, top 10%, actually in the top 4 and top 5% of any place in the United States. Owner-occupied homes, 87%. Okay, these people have dentists. Okay, and medium rooms, almost double what it was in Sherman, Texas. Okay, top 10, top 3%. Okay, population 34,000. Now, Texas is one of those weird things where our zip codes geographically are larger because we don't have a river or a mountain in the way. 34,000 is a little bit higher than the average of 25. And again, had I just seen the population, I'd think, okay, there must be a lot of apartments. But again, 87% owner-occupied homes, not a lot of apartments here. Average household size, again, almost 30% more people in an average household than was in Sherman. Everybody's got a kid here. So if you don't see children, you pretty well are shooting yourself in the foot. If you're not open weekends, these people, because this town is a bedroom community, dual income families take the kids to school, they head south to go to work, they get their dentistry done closer to where they work than when they live, because it's more convenient. If we had not been open every Friday and Saturday, we would have missed that opportunity with these people. Okay. Okay. Median age is 32.3. Sherman was 32. So same age group, same location within 30 miles, totally different demographics. Okay. Now, we talked about dentists. The average ratio of dentist to population or population to dentist in McKinney is 1 dentist for every 650 people. There is a road separating McKinney and Frisco, the 2 largest, fastest growing cities in the United States. They touch each other. On Custer Road, the ratio of dentist to population, a different zip code than this, is 1 dentist for every 128 people. You would be foolish to open a practice in this area. A lot of positives, great schools, everything. No one drives a used car. They're all new. I mean, but there's negatives to this too. Okay, so if you were shopping for a practice to buy, this would not be a good place to do it. You would pay high dollar for the potential of not being able to compete because there's so many people here and a lot of young doctors. Married, everybody's married, no one's divorced, 86% white. And the reason in this race demographics here is that it's grown very fast, and it's grown with upwardly mobile, young white couples, dual income that make a bunch of money. So that's a quick look at 2 demographics. My expectation for you is when you sit down and you're self-diagnosing your practice, this is one thing that you're going to want to look at, because it may explain why your overhead is high, or it may explain why your number of new patients are low. Okay. And there's always a way to fix this. Max, anything?
Yeah, I think that summed it up pretty well. It's, like I think I said at the beginning, these are fairly simple in terms of demographics. You mentioned that other one, which I know is a lot more complex, but this gives you a good overview and maybe tells you more than you already knew about demographics.
Right.
For sure.
1 and 2, I don't want you to be in demographic denial. If you're a young doctor and you're looking for a location to buy or to start, then you get it down to 2 or 3, then you look at the demographics. And if everything kind of checks the box for you, or it's never going to be a perfect buy or a perfect build, but a lot of it works in your favor, then you do a deeper dive and really start looking at the ratio of dentist to population. And then, ratio, and then below that would be ages of dentists you're competing with in the area. It could be one area where they're old and they're not very competitive. Okay. And so you just get deeper and deeper until you get to the point where you can make an informed decision on what to do. Same thing about managing your practice day to day, how to grow your practice. You're on a journey to improve where you are. We always are doing that, trying to improve, better ourselves each year. So,
all right. Well, thanks for watching, and let us know if you have questions. Bye.